Hi, everyone. Hope you had a chance to enjoy the weekend and got out and saw some sunshine before the next 7 to 10 days of rain here in Texas. Just hope you've had a good chance to spend some time with family and kind of get away from work if you are working and get your mind off of things for a little bit if you are not working. Spend some time with family and loved ones. I know lots of people barbecue on this weekend. It's definitely a weekend of remembrance of those who have sacrificed their lives for us and those who have fallen in the line of duty. And I have much love and much respect for those who have gone through those situations, the family of those who have lost their spouse, their brothers, their sons, their daughters, their sisters. I can only imagine that. I have sympathy there, and much love for this weekend. I know it can be difficult for some, so I nothing but love. This week, I want to touch on the topic of grief. I think that it's something that's not necessarily tied to this weekend and to Memorial Day. It just so happened to fall on this week, and I hope that it's not something that's insensitive to those out there. And if it is, please message me back and I'll take this down and I'll start another week with this one. But I do want to touch this one just on the basis of where I've been in my life and how things have affected me, my specific experience with this, what I saw, what helped me the most, and just walk you through some of my circumstances just a little. So, grief is obviously an animal in and of itself if you've ever dealt with it, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a physical death, if it's people leaving your life, friendships ending, relationships ending, kids going to college. I mean, there's lots of things to grieve about. Even when it comes to jobs, when you're looking for a job and you've went through lots of interviews and you're right there at the last stage and then they choose someone else, or you've had a lot of companies do the same thing and they choose other people, and it's definitely a process we still have to go through, whether it's big or small. It's still something we have to be able to process that grief and then walk through it. I'm not going to pull up all the steps of grief or what's involved in each step in grief. I'm just going to express a little bit again of where I've been in this. And specifically, I'm not going to deny, after receiving several months worth of no's from companies and then the economy doing what it's done, that's been very, very difficult to find companies who are hiring. And then those who are hiring, it's been eventful. It's been a wave up and down each week, and I'm definitely excited and ready for whatever is put in front of me, whatever open doors there. I'm excited for the journey, the change, whatever's coming. It's definitely something I am excited for, but it's also something that I've had to be. I have to be patient with myself. I have to be forgiving with myself. That's very important in the process of grief, and it's very important in the process of learning and growing. But for me, just in this one instance, and I could show you dozens of instances where this has been the case, but for me, having the jobs do that, I have to be patient with myself and remember the value I bring to the table, remember whose that I am, remember all the things that I can do in a company, and the value add I can be to mentoring other people, to helping other people grow with technology, but also helping them in their lives to have more fulfilling and more joyful lives, because that's something I love to do in and out of the workplace. And I know that any company that picks me up is going to notice that very quickly, and they're going to appreciate that as my hope and my aim, right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen that way, but that's definitely my hope and my aim right now. But long story short, even in going through this journey and looking for jobs and the times that things have happened in the past, it's definitely been an experience where I've had to be patient with myself and remember to just keep on keeping on. Every day is a brand new day, and I have to remind myself that. Some days it's a lot easier than others. Some days I'm fighting myself because I'm fighting some of the negative emotions that may be popping up. And it's not to say the emotion in and of itself is bad. It's letting it be consuming that's not healthy. It's not good for us. And when it comes to grief, those times we really need to be patient and forgiving and understanding with ourselves because of where we've been, because of what situation has happened, the trauma, the drama, the experience, the hurt, the emotions, the feelings, everything that goes along with it. We have to be very self-aware and be able to be forgiving, be able to be patient with ourselves to say, we're just starting this journey. We've got a long ways to go. And each and every day, I'm going to try to get through that day better than I did the last, because that's how we should live every day. But especially through grief, it's a process and an experience that can be very difficult. For me, I'll say in a matter of 2 weeks, several years ago, I lost about 40 pounds. And if you know me, you know that I'm a relatively thin guy as it is. So it means a lot if you know me. I'm probably a buck 50, a buck 55 soaking wet. I'm a relatively thin guy. I'm 6 foot tall. I've never had a whole lot of weight stacked anywhere. I've just been a thin frame guy. I can't do a lot about it. I eat like I'm a lot bigger, but I just don't hold on to the weight for some reason, except, in the belly, of course, where most men do. But anyway, stepping back, sorry, I digress. And considering that situation for me, I lost about 40 pounds in those 2 weeks. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to watch TV. I didn't want to play video games. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't really want to do a whole lot of anything, to be honest. I was just in a pretty tough place, and I had to be able to accept that what had happened. But at that point in time, it was not something realistic for me, and it was just a process I had to get through. I didn't understand everything. I didn't understand the ins and outs of it. I just understood that the situation had changed, and it took a lot out of me. Here just maybe a few weeks ago or a few months ago, I was chatting with an old buddy of mine, and he said, man, in the very beginning, several years ago, when all of your life started changing the way it did, he said, buddy, I and your parents and other people, we were very, very concerned for you. We thought you were going to die. And I was on the phone with him, so I couldn't make any expressions to him. All I could do was just leave him a pause because I wanted it to really sink in. I said, if you think the outside looked bad, you can never imagine what the inside looked like. I said, and I'm so grateful that most people don't have to, and that no one has to sit through and live through the experiences I have. Now, to some degree, there's people, again, 100,000 people in a room. You're going to have people that have gone through various parts of my situation, and I understand that. But if someone walks up to me and says, I just don't understand how you did it, or I really don't even comprehend, I can't even comprehend it, I say, be thankful, be grateful. Because obviously, I was strong enough to take this. I was strong enough to handle this, and maybe someone else wasn't quite so strong that they could not have handled this. But I was handed this. And I did the very best I could. It took me a long time to get back on my feet. But it was patience, and it was an understanding with myself, and it was honestly the reassurance that I could just keep on keeping on, and that every day, even though it might have looked the same, every day was different. And that was quite the journey for me. One important thing that I learned on top of being patient and understanding with myself was to be willing to speak to people. Wise counsel is something that is so important when we're going through difficulties because there are other people out there who could help us. And if all we do is pretend that we're the Tim Taylor men of that generation and don't share anything with anybody and never talk about emotions and feelings, all you're doing is holding everything in, and eventually you're going to pop. You're going to explode. You're going to be in the hospital. You're going to have health issues. You're going to have mental strain. You're going to have emotional strain. It can negatively impact you very quickly for not sharing and being open when you need it. Go find a friend. Find a preacher. Seek a counselor if you need to. There's nothing wrong with seeking a counselor when you absolutely have a need. They're there to listen and to be there for you. And it's a blessing. Absolutely a blessing. I can promise you that. And those are some of the big things for me that I picked up, was to be open enough to talk to people and share with people when I was going through difficult times, to say, can you help me? Do you know a good way through this? And to be patient with myself and understanding and forgiving. And in time, it eventually will always get better if we are truly looking for change and looking for growth, looking for peace and seeking that. We can find it. It doesn't always mean we will. It means it's a different life. But the very last stage in grief is, it's not saying that life is perfect. It's saying that we can be okay with exactly what life is, regardless of what may be lost in the situation or what may be different. That we are okay with it and we can accept it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been encouraging to you, giving you a different perspective. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for listening. Bye.